And you were saying that we always called to be helpful to people to find their service. That's how I would look at it.
Right, exactly.
So why don't you talk about that?
So every single person on planet Earth drops into this dense realm intending to do great work here. And by work, I mean work that comes from their soul, from their gifts, from their talents, from their passion. And by doing that, helping raise the consciousness of the planet. We all come in with that soul intention. And then we hit the dense realm and people say, you just have to get a job. You've got to go pay the rent. You've got to get especially if you're a man, you know, you've got to raise a family. You have to go be a stockbroker, you know, even if that's not our soul's mission. And so we buy into the story. And yet, when we do that, sooner or later, we hit the wake-up call and the reinvention point, where everything feels bad. And whether we
have dis-ease or disharmony.
Dis-ease, disharmony, get fired, get laid off, all of these things. This is the soul.
Get sick.
Yes, and it's
Right.
the soul saying, you know, wake up. You forgot
Stop.
everything. Stop.
Right.
What are you doing? And when we hit those reinvention points, we come up for air and go, who am I and why am I here? And those are finally the questions that start getting us in the right direction. And once we feel those questions, like you, we say, I've got to do what feels true to me. And I don't care if I'm not going to make a six-figure income, I'm going to do it so passionately and so truly from my soul's mission that I will make it be the way I make my living no matter what. And that's what people are waking up to do much more frequently now as we shift the vibration.
Yeah, and we were talking earlier is that we're also changing the momentum of all those ideas. Right. So those ideas aren't quite as strong as that, you know, a male in this, you know, I mean, we're coming into more of a balance. And
right.
So why don't you talk a little bit about the balance points and things?
You know, as everyone is aware, this has been such a dominantly left brain culture, you know, the linear, logical thinking. And that's
reasonable.
Yes, and that's great because we built bridges and ships and buildings and created all of this wonderful material structure with that left brain logical thinking. And yet the consciousness is evolving to a point now where our right brains are required. And the right brain is the higher knowledge, the intuitive wisdom, the spirituality, also the feminine energy. And the feminine energy has been just squelched and denied to the point where in the corporate world, using the word intuition is a no-no, you know? And it has to, and it is all shifting now to where people are being allowed to incorporate intuition into their work, to incorporate spirituality into their work, to honor it as valid. And part of that is also science doing research that is validating things like intuition. You know, Dean Radin, who wrote Entangled Minds, studying the fact that you can test intuition in the lab and prove that it is scientifically valid. And so as we merge the left brain and the right brain that way, it's bringing us into our wholeness. And that is manifesting in our work, and that's the important part.
Right, well, manifesting in every breath we take, so
Right.
it's going to affect,
Right.
you know, our daily activity where we do activity.
Right, right.
I mean, I used to talk a lot about that, you know, a lot of the spiritual paths have service, satsang, and meditation. But if you think about it, meditation is, you know, quiet time or, you know, internal time. Satsang is listening or, you know, holy company you're talking about. And service is activity. So if you put all those together, that's your day.
It is. That's
so if you can
job.
fill your day with all
Right.
those types of things, you'd have a pretty good day and a pretty
Right.
good week and a pretty good life.
Well, you know, what I tell my clients is your day, your job has to be the same as the dialogue you're having in your head all the time about how the universe works and what is true. And if there's a different dialogue going on in your head than the way you're acting all day at work, then a shift is required. Because we can no longer shut ourselves off and just go and be zombie workers, you know?
Right. It doesn't feel good.
It doesn't feel good, and we're waking up and becoming too conscious.
Right.
So.
I actually, you know, a lot of times will not talk about work. I'll talk about play work.
That's
you know,
right.
we take work seriously, and
Right.
that's something grown-ups do and playing.
Right.
But if what we're doing, if this is playing, I mean, you know that there was a lot of activity, a lot of effort to make this look smooth and natural, but
But everyone
ultimately
was
it's playing.
having fun.
Exactly.
Yes, yeah.
So we were talking earlier about how important, people's service and people's, so much time is spent in that activity, play, work, service, and that it's almost a momentum of reason, of mind, of fear. How do we get it into intuition and love and passion? Why don't you?
Well, we have to change the story, and we have to change what we believe in about our jobs. And, from the time that we're small, the knowledge that we're taught is, well, it's great that you have that little talent or that little interest or that dream, but you have to be realistic and practical, and you've got to go to a job, and even if you don't like that job, you still have to
You're
go.
not supposed to like it.
You're
How
not
many
supposed to like it,
Right.
right. And in fact, if you hate it, it's all right. Just get those benefits and paychecks, and then you can have fun in the weekends, right? And so we bought the story, and so many people bought into that and would go out on the weekends and try to live their life. And finally, we've raised our consciousness to a level where that is no longer acceptable. We are realizing that you can't spend 85% of your waking hours at a job that has nothing to do with who you are, with what your soul's mission is, and with what you believe to be true about how the world works. I work with clients who have these enormous spiritual understandings of life and great intuition and healing powers, and they work in a retail store, and and they sell dresses. And so the conversation that they have in their head about how the universe works and what is true is completely different from the words that they're speaking all day at work. And that's the shift, is we've got to line it up so that the way that the words that I say all day are exactly what I believe to be true about the universe, and in fact, those words are my work.
Yeah, that would change everything instantaneously.
Mm-hmm.
And people would just be enormously content and happy, and there'd be less war, there'd be less disease, there'd be less...
Right, because so much of our pain here on this planet comes from that question all of my clients say to me is, okay, I followed all the rules, I did it right, I got the job, I got the great degree in college, and I've got what I'm supposed to be happy with, and I'm miserable. So what is the meaning here? What is the purpose? And of course, part of that is recognizing that we aren't physical beings, we're spiritual beings here on a journey. We are energy beings, pulsing waves of light, and that this chair is not real. That's part of what we have to realize. But the other thing we have to realize is that the way we spend our time earning our money has to be in alignment with that idea that we are souls on a mission. And if I'm a soul on a mission with boundless possibility and boundless potential, then why can't I be doing my true work and making money at it and loving it and being happy? Of course I can. But that's the shift of thinking that has to happen. And it's a big shift, and people like you, of course, are leading the way, saying, look, I'm creating television programming that's in alignment with what I believe to be true, and more people are waking up and watching it, and so the money is flowing to that. And as we quit believing in the mundane and shifting from left brain to right brain and really opening up to our divinity, our spirituality, our intuition, our higher consciousness, the work paradigm is shifting as well. I love to watch science fiction and Star Trek, of course, and there's so many moments in Star Trek when they'll say, oh yeah, back when society was economically based, you remember that? And everyone will laugh and go, oh yeah, I remember those dark ages when society was economically based. And I do believe that in our future, we'll look back on this as the dark ages, when people went to a job all day that they hated, almost like the way we look back at slavery now, as, wow, what were those people thinking?
And I always used to, when I was growing up, the tie, it was like you're hanging yourself. You're
exactly.
cutting off.
You're cutting your truth off. Yes.
You're cutting your air off. I mean, it's like,
the breath of life.
How insane
Yeah.
is that this is the code that, it's like, and from early on, I just look at that, I'm like, God. I mean, not that I never wore a tie or, all the stuff, but, somewhere along the line, you look at that and go,
Yeah.
God.
And you know, the thing is, Alan, we come here on this incredible soul mission and we want to do the right thing. And when we're told by our loving parents and our teachers and everybody that, well, okay, well, if you want to do the right thing, you know, you better get an MBA or you better go to law school, and that's how you do the right thing, then most of us will go, okay, well, if that's how I get loved.
And you're gonna get, if you're
Right.
loved, you're gonna marry, children, mortgage,
Exactly.
house, cars, family,
Right.
pay for the daughter's wedding.
Exactly.
So you have to like almost tie yourself
Right.
to this insanity
it's almost
over
like
and over again.
You're told, okay, either you play this game this way,
Or you're a failure
or
and
you're
a
a
loser.
homeless person and a loser. And those are sort of the options that we're given.
There's no middle ground.
Crazy. And I'm always telling my clients, I say, you know, it's not either you do what you love and starve and be miserable and lonely, or you do what you hate and be happy and successful and wealthy. That's not the choice. The choice is, how do I bring my soul's mission to my work every day and make that an abundant source of income and joy for myself, and in so doing, raise the consciousness of the world. And you can look around you, and many people are doing that. You know, people who love their work, who may be a healer or a writer or a teacher or an artist, and they're supporting themselves financially, doing their great work. And we look at them and go, wow, if they can do that, I can do that. And so as each one of us wakes up and starts living true to who we are, making our money that way, speaking our truth, speaking our spirituality, speaking our intuition and not being ashamed of it, bringing it into our daily life, then other people look at them and go, well, I could do that.
Yeah, it's inspiring.
And so it begins affecting the domino effect everywhere, to where finally the person who's going to work hating their job becomes the minority. And so we start shifting the economic base and create robots that do the horrible jobs and give people the truth and the path to follow their mission and do their highest work as their income. And if you're meant to be a healer, you become a healer of some kind. If you're meant to be an artist, you are paid financially to do that, and you bring that work to the world to raise the consciousness. And as we're all doing that, it's a different world, and then we bridge heaven and earth. We connect the dense realm with the unseen realm, and we finally live here, remembering that we are spirits on a journey and not living here thinking and feeling we're physical bodies in a physical world trapped. And that's the metaphysical existential nightmare that people hit. If this is a physical world, if my life is nothing but that terrible job for the next 20 years,
And to have lose loved ones like we were
to
talking.
lose loved ones and watch the people I love suffer and die, what is the point? I don't want to be here.
Right, that is not so good.
Exactly.